Hello friends, we're back with another video on how to make knives. In this edition, we'll show you how I finish each one in the form of a rough built knife with nasty epoxy all over the handle, the corby bolts sticking proud, and the steel still rough ground. We'll finish the whole knife in this episode. After the epoxy has dried for 24 hours, I need to grind off the excess and remove the tops of the corbies and lanyard tubes. I use a 36 grit belt for running at 50% on a KMG rotary platen. I also grind the wood so it's even with the steel tang. Now when I do this, it must be done in a way that leaves no facets in the steel and is ground even. I go all the way around the profile of the knife in this step. I'm not worried about getting any radiuses on the handle yet. I'm just cleaning it up down to good shiny steel. Now I change the belt to a 60 grit J-Flex. I get these from Phoenix Abrasives. They are the premium brand J-Flex belt. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. I'm not being compensated by them for this in any way. They are just a great outfit to do business with. Again, the machine is running at 50%. The first thing I do is profile the whole knife with a 60 grit belt. I'm removing all the 36 grit scratches. I'll pay close attention to the scratch size and hit all the steel parts, corbies, and the lanyard tube. Once I've got all the scratches on the steel to 60 grit, I'll start softening the corners. The 60 grit step takes the longest because I'm shaping the handle on this step as well as working out the 36 grit marks. Now I switch to a 220 grit J-Flex and I do it all over again, starting with the profile. I go all the way around the knife and take out the 60 grit scratches. I try and hold the knife at a slightly different angle so I can see the deeper scratches. That way I can get them out without having to go backwards in grit size. I'm also slightly refining the shape at this stage too. Most of it is done on the 60 grit. At this grit, I'm finalizing the exact shape. Then it's on to the 400 grit. Wash, rinse, repeat, removing any 220 grit scratches. This step is all you're doing is getting the surface ready for polish. Now I have to change the tooling on the grinder for the finger groove. I use a 1-inch wide belt on a slack attachment to get in that corner. I don't buy the belts at 1 inch, I just rip the 2-inch wide belt down the center. I start off with a 120 grit belt to really hog out the material. At this step, I turn the machine down to 25% speed so I don't gouge into the handle. Then I go to a 400 grit belt and polish that finger area up, and I'll get in the sharpening notch too. Now I change back to the rotary platen for the final polish of 2000 grit at 50% speed. I get asked how many knives I get out of my belts. The 36 grit really perform. They're ceramic Cubitron 2 belts, and with those I can get 20 to 25 handles done on one belt. The rest of the grits are aluminum oxide, and I get 10 knives each out of them. So when I'm finished with a step on the rack of knives, I toss the old one in the trash and replace it with a new belt of the next finer grit. On this step, the 2000 grit, I start with profiling the whole knife and move on to wood and handle fittings. I also catch any scratches at this time. I make sure to get them out now before I buff. But wait, there's more. Now I do the final polish on the buffer. I use a European type no scratch compound, meaning I don't know what company made it other than it was made in England and I got it off of Amazon. The buffer is an 1800 RPM buffer with an 8-inch spiral sewn cotton wheel, doubled up. I have 2 buffing wheels put together on that one side. I start off profiling the steel, then move to the wood and handle fittings. I buff every part of the handle, the spine, and the clip. Now I finish the bevels of the blade. I use a 10-inch spiral sewn cotton wheel with satin glow. It's a Formax product that I get from Pop's Knife Supply or Midwest knife makers. You put it on and have to let it dry. It's like a glue compound in it, so it dries hard to the wheel. At this step, I start off with 80 grit and move to 240. Then I'm done. Easy peasy, quick and easy. Now it's time to sharpen the knife. I start off on the platen of the grinder with a 120 grit hardback belt running at 50%. I set the edge and pull up the burr. Then I move to a wore out 240 grit hardback belt running at 25% speed to polish the edge and pull up the final burr. And I do this on the space between the top roller and the platen to get a slightly convex edge, or as the old timers called it, an appleseed edge, because the edge is shaped like an appleseed. Here I polish off the burr and the edge at the same time, and I test the edge on notebook paper to make sure the whole edge is sharp. If you enjoyed watching the video and maybe you learned something, give it a like and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification icon to turn on the notifications so you know when I've uploaded a new video to YouTube. If you think my dealers should send me some stuff with their name on it so I can strategically place them in the videos so you know where to get my creations, say so in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Alright, that's it, boy. We're gone.